Sukenik on your left, Vargas on your right. Both these players 4-0. Great starts. Blue decks, Brainstorm Ponder. It's a great place to be in Legacy. We're going to watch some more of it. Now on Sukenik's side, he does have Wastelands, of course, 4 of them, while Mr. Vargas only with 1, because his deck has more color requirements. As a polluted delta and a passing of the turn is where Manuel will start. For Sukenik, he'll play the very powerful Deathrite Shaman off of an Underground Sea. We'll go back over to Vargas, who does have a copy of Kolaghan's Command in hand and picked a copy of Deathrite Shaman for his draw step. Gonna sacrifice not 1 but 2 polluted deltas here, will Vargas. An Underground Sea. And a Tropical Island. We'll see what the spell's going to be here. He does have 3 main deck copies of Baleful Strix, but it's actually going to be an Abrupt Decay to take care of Deathrite Shaman and slow down Sukenik's mana development.
Yeah, Vargas here, in this matchup, a big edge, again, if he can just get out of the first couple turns without disaster striking. He's got Leovold, Jace the Mind Sculptor, a bunch of copies of Kolaghan's Command. In terms of who has the more powerful cards in their deck, it's not close. Sukenik's edge is on getting to the battlefield early, about being able to play when he's light on mana. But if Vargas can make the game about dragging it out and playing bigger stuff, he should have a huge edge.
Here's a Brainstorm for Sukenik. Gataxian Probe, Underground Sea, and Daze are the draws here for Jonathan. He'll be putting 2 cards back here momentarily. 1 and 2. Brainstorm done resolving. And now he'll sacrifice polluted delta, will Sukenik. So a perfect Brainstorm, as they say.
I played against Sukenik at the most recent SCG team event, and he was playing this deck.
How'd that go?
We were in the middle of game 3 when I don't even recall whose team won, but one of the teams won.
You were going to win. You were going to beat him.
I feel like I was behind in game 3, but I can't recall.
Nah. No way.
Sneak and Show Delver. We had some good games.
Classic matchup.
We had good games, yeah.
Delver Secrets. And now we're going to head back over to Vargas. He'll draw first, third turn, picked up a copy of Diabolic Edict. One of those in the main deck. His main deck's got some funny 1s and 2s. Dak Faden, Pyroblast, Toxic Deluge, Liliana the Veil, Diabolic Edict, all 1-ofs. All can be found via Ponder and Brainstorm and all those shuffles. Here's Deathrite Shaman. The glue that kind of holds together.
And you can see Vargas here putting up a premium on not playing into Daze in particular. Part of the edge you can get in this kind of matchup is just by making Sukenik's soft counter spells not very effective. And so he's willing to take a hit here if it can mean that Daze doesn't really do anything. For example, he decided to do that instead of, he could have cast Diabolic Edict as well to follow up and elected not to.
Insectile Aberration going to come across. We'll see if Vargas is willing to just take this 3, use his life total as a resource.
Yeah.
And it appears he will.
Yeah, if you're in the spot where you're already, taking the... If you didn't play it last turn, I can't imagine playing it when Sukenik also has Spell Pierce mana available.
Well, you kind of see exactly why he didn't play it either. Not 1, but 2 copies of Kolaghan's Command, an Abrupt Decay, and a Diabolic Edict in hand for Manuel Vargas. So he's got a pretty good hand here.
Yeah, Vargas is going to want to clutch on pretty hard to that copy of Diabolic Edict as an answer to something like True Name Nemesis and Gurmag Angler, and allow the Abrupt Decay and the Kolaghan's Command to handle the tinier stuff.
A lot of Force Wills in Sukenik's hand right now. It looks like 3 along with the Daze and at least 1 more blue card. We know about the Ponder from the reveal from, of course, the Delver. Is that 3? That's 2 bolts in a Scalding Tarn. Okay. Looks like Sukenik is going to keep it here. He'll pick up a copy of Lightning Bolt. Going to take care of Deathrite Shaman. Knows the coast is clear from the Gataxian Probe. Does not want to allow Vargas to have that on the battlefield. And now Vargas is going to play a copy of Diabolic Edict. Probably with the rationale here of, if you want to counter this, that's fine. I got plenty of removal, man. One of which is Abrupt Decay, which is uncounterable.
Surprised by using the Edict here instead of the Abrupt Decay, because now True-Name Nemesis or Gurmag Angler, the other cards in his hand don't line up.
Those are real cards now.
Yeah.
Daze is going to take care of the Diabolic Edict. Perhaps Sukenik thinking that my Daze isn't going to get much better than this as we head over to Vargas. And Vargas has drawn a Snapcaster Mage. 3 of those in his deck. Here is a Kolaghan's Command. Deal 2 and get back Deathrite Shaman. Force of Will, removing Force of Will is going to take care of that. It's going to allow Sukenik to get in another hit with this Delver of Secrets now. So this could be the surprise that you're talking about. Again, we know that Vargas does have an Abrupt Decay. He did not use it, so he's going to be taking an additional 3 points of damage now. As here comes the Delver. The follow-up is a Brainstorm. So 3 cards coming here for Sukenik. 1 is a Bolt. He knew about that. He did not know about Gurmag Angler, nor did he know about Ponder.
Well, this is an incredible setup here for Sukenik, as he can now shuffle away with the Brainstorm, use the Scalding Tarn to go get a black source of mana for the Gurmag Angler. And you can see if you're gonna play the Angler this turn, which I think makes sense, then you want to shuffle away the Bolt, because this whole line is predicated on getting a second copy of Underground Sea. His leftovers now are Force of Will and blue card and a ton of pressure.
There is an Underground Sea.
And this is my concern with using, my concern with using the Diabolic Edict there is twofold. One is you allowed Sukenik to use a counter spell, and if you get Abrupt Decay, obviously that doesn't work. Abrupt Decay is uncounterable.
Yep.
And the other is now you're down your Diabolic Edict, and you have answers to small threats in your hand, but Sukenik has a Gurmag Angler, which requires a much more specific set of cards.
So here is the real big fish. Delving away a bunch of cards is Sukenik. And he's got a 5/5 on the battlefield in addition to his 3/2 Insectile Aberration. Baleful Strix the draw. That's a pretty timely one.
Yeah, it's not shabby. I mean, it's an answer to the Angler of Swords, especially with Sukenik not having red mana, so not having access to Lightning Bolt.
However, if you're Manuel Vargas, the biggest issue here is that you only get to play 1 spell this turn. And Baleful Strix is going to hope to resolve, and Sukenik says, no way. I'll take 1, Force of Will that.
You're not even close. He knows he's got to have that Gurmag Angler stick.
And Vargas will count it up, and he says, I'm going to be taking 8 next turn. I know that. Going to go down to 3. Now, if you're Vargas, it's pretty important that you actually draw a land, because a land allows him to Snapcaster Mage plus Abrupt Decay and have a blocker for the Angler, which is something. That's a main deck Pyroblast? Boy,
So
I bet he wishes he had that Edict now.
So the Pyroblast lets you get rid of the Insectile Aberration, and then you have a chump blocker for the Angler with your Snapcaster Mage, and then you get a draw step at it next turn. Not an ideal set of circumstances, but he's not dead.
Yeah, but this all goes back to playing Abrupt Decay versus Diabolic Edict that turn.
Yeah.
Not only would he have maybe 6 additional life,
Right, he might have gotten tripped up anyway because Sukenik had so many copies of Force of Will, but you would have saved so many points because the Insectile Aberration would be off the battlefield. And then maybe you have the breathing space where the game goes an extra turn or 2 and Snapcaster plus Diabolic Edict gets the Angler off the table. Instead, it's looking like Vargas might just die with 3 removal spells in his hand.
yeah, and the tough part too is, he's drawn 2 Kolaghan's Commands, where if we're going to play a longer game, ideal for
huge
Kolaghan's
edge.
Command, of course.
Yeah, he's got a huge edge. He just needs time, and Sukenik has cut a lot of time out of the game.
Sukenik drew a Brainstorm last turn. Here comes Gurmag Angler. This is a Snapcaster Mage. Hey, how about Force of Will blue card? We're all done. Jonathan Sukenik's going to win game number 1 here over Manuel Vargas. Grixis Delver going to win game number 1 here over 4 color control. These players will be going to the drawing board here in just a moment for their sideboards. But first, a few messages from our sponsors.
Go. go.
We are back. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan here in the booth. Round number 5, SCGWOR Open Weekend. As we're watching Jonathan Sukenik currently up a game against Manuel Vargas. Grixis Delver versus 4-color Control. We'll start with Vargas' sideboard. It's got 2 Flusterstorm, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Thoughtseize, and here come the one-ofs. An Abrade, Pyroblast, Hydroblast, Marsh Casualties, Fatal Push, Diabolic Edict, Liliana, Last Hope, Sylvan Library, Life from Zilom.
So I think you want a little bit of the extra removal here. The Pyroblast and the Fatal Push seem very good. I like going to Loam. I imagine you can try to pair Loam with Wasteland here and lock out of the game. Although, does Vargas not have any Wastelands in his list?
He got one.
One?
He got one.
All right. Then,
Yeah, I know you're disappointed. You got one.
Yeah, then I'm probably not Loaming here. But the extra creature removal, especially the cheap stuff.
Let's go to Sukenik, who's got 3 Cabal Therapy, 3 Pyroblast, 2 Surgical Extraction, an Ancient Grudge, an Abrade, a Dead Gone. I like that card. Flusterstorm, Dismember, Marsh Casualties, and a Pithing Needle.
I don't know. I'm not feeling a whole lot of this past the 3 Pyroblast. You can easily justify bringing in more creature removal. The Dismember is probably easy enough to bring in, maybe the Abrade, but outside of the blasts, I wouldn't bring in a whole lot.
And those are the options there for both players. Game number 2 about to be underway here in just a moment. We're going to talk about that StarCityGames.com weekly sale. Don't want you to miss out on the ability to save 10% on select Eternal Singles.
Yeah, head over to go.starcitygames.com/weekly sale to check it out. We have a new sale every week, so make sure to be checking back to the website at least once a week. Monday, 11 o'clock Eastern Time is when the sale gets updated. Right now, 10% off select Eternal Singles.
Got a new sale coming too. Don't you worry.
Of course, every Monday at 11 o'clock.
Always got sales. We're sales flooded.
Yep. Roll on back, check out the next thing.
Sukenik is going to, looks like maybe take a mulligan. No, they haven't presented yet. I take it all back. I take it all back. Out here in Worcester, Mass. I haven't been here for at least a year, maybe 2. The DCU Center, our home this weekend.
It's been a bit.
No? Covered a lot of shows here, though.
Yes, over the years we've been here a lot. Not been here recently. In part because it can be challenging to get here.
Occasionally.
And we experienced that. You got the worst of it, of course.
That took a beat. It's actually kind of nice, actually.
Got the phone call from the front desk today at 8:30 in the morning, waking me up, saying there's a Mr. Phillips down here.
Please let me in.
Please let me in the room.
I'd like to take a nap. Please let me in. Yeah.
Yep.
I came in and I went to the front desk and I said, checking in. And she's like, rooms don't open till 3. I said, I'm checking in. We're not negotiating. I'm checking in.
Right.
I am very tired. I slept in the Uber from the airport.
Yeah.
Just out cold immediately. The driver's trying to make conversation. I said, hey, man, you seem like a really nice guy. I just red-eyed here from Seattle. I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I just want to know where all the snow is that made my flight delayed. It's not here.
Yeah, my cab driver, excellent bedside manner, didn't say a word.
Genius. Big tip.
He got one look at my face and said, you know what?
We're all good?
I should probably just drive the car.
It's probably the best for both of us.
Yeah.
Just drive that car.
Right.
Gonna keep with the ponder, will Manuel Vargas.
He asked me when we got to the hotel if this was the right hotel. I said yes. That was pretty much the end of it.
That's enough.
Yeah.
That's plenty. Gataxian Probe will show you a Baleful Strix, a Scalding Tarn. Pyro Blast and Abrupt Decay. Looks like a Punishing Fire and a Force of Will. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
This deck is trying to do a lot of things.
Yes, it is. 2 Groves, couple copies of Punishing Fire. Make sure you write those cards down, right? That's what Sukenik's going to do.
So I guess the loam comes in if your opponent has Wasteland and they're vulnerable to Grove and Punishing Fire.
Well,
that would make sense.
There's a Wasteland for you.
Yes.
Kept the Ponder on top, did Vargas, so he drew that Ponder. He's got a Scalding Tarn.
It's not trivial for Vargas to cast the cards in his hand. They require lots of different colors of mana.
Yeah, it's hard. Vargas will draw a Brainstorm now. Vargas does have basics. He's got an island's not a plains. An island's in a swamp. Those are hiding out in there. He's going to sacrifice that Scalding Tarn.
Whatever land you get, make it count, because you might get to tap it one time.
Yeah, it could just die. There's Underground Sea.
See, that's the fetch of a man who believes he's getting 2 shots at it. Otherwise, you get the island. We'll see. That seems optimistic to me.
Gotta believe. Just believe. Hit 1, 2, 3, no lands.
I think you just got to shuffle a no-lander.
I think you're right, and I think Manuel agrees.
Yeah, I know you can keep the death right there, and that's kind of a land, and there's a Brainstorm, which is kind of a land maybe, but I think you just got to shuffle away 3 spells in that spot.
That assumes the Death Right is going to live,
Right,
which no way.
Right.
Resolve or live, I should say.
I think that's an easy Ponder to get trapped on right there.
Well, we found land Underground Sea.
Beautiful.
Play that Underground Sea. Pass the turn back. Volcanic Eye on the draw there for Jonathan Sukenik. The Taxian Probe will allow Sukenik to see exactly what Manuel Vargas has picked up. The cards look very much the same. Brainstorm, Force Will, Baleful Strix, Pyroblast, Punishing Fire, Abrupt Decay. No red mana here.
Or green.
So, got a little bit of work to do, does Manuel Vargas. In the meantime, Sukenik will draw a card off the Probe, picked up a Spell Pierce, got a Bolt in hand. Going to play Volcanic Island. No creature to play to the battlefield just yet as we go over to Vargas, who's drawing a Grove of the Burn Walls. There's your red and your green.
Yeah, I guess that draw's awesome.
Yeah. Now there is some value in perhaps concealing that you drew that, but I would actually want the Baleful Strix to resolve, not get dazed. However, it will resolve. Here's an Abrupt Decay. Now the question, of course, is does Vargas want to actually play the Grove and open itself up to Wasteland? And he will.
I think Vargas probably banking on the idea that if there was a Wasteland in Sukenik's hand, he probably would have seen it the previous turn. But it is risky because if he loses this Grove, he's back to a spot where he's got a lot of green and red cards in his hand and no ability to cast them.
Sukenik has picked up a Lightning Bolt. There's a Misty Rainforest. He'll simply pass the turn back. And John, not in much of a rush, not under much pressure. There's another Baleful Strix as the draw here for Vargas.
Well, there's also no rush to get to the battlefield when Vargas has Grove of the Burn Walls plus Punishing Fire. You kind of need to get that Grove out of there before you can really make progress with your creatures.
There's a little bit of appeal, of course, if he's able to find a True Name or a Gurmag Angler. But some of the smaller threats, your young Pyromancers, your Delvers,
no
your
rush. Why bother?
Yeah.
They're no good right now.
Your
So
Deathrite Shamans, those are trash right now. There's a, Anabraid. And back to Sukenik we go. It might be time to ponder. Just trying to figure out exactly what land he wants to do with. He's going to go with Volcanic Island, leave Underground Sea untapped. There is the ponder. Thumbs up. Top couple. Ding, 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 ding. Wasteland is exactly what the doctor ordered. Sukenik is going to keep it.
Wasteland.
Maybe on Manuel Vargas' upkeep.
Yeah, upkeep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That needs to kindly leave.
Ding, 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 ding.
Vargas has drawn a Fatal Push. It currently does have Revolt. In case you were wondering, there's a Baleful Strix. That's fine. Baleful Strix the draw. We're going to do this for a little while, huh?
Guess Sukenik not fighting over this because Vargas is likely to discard a hand size. Daze is likely to be good for a while here. He's got bolts to line up with the Baleful Strix if he wants to.
Sukenik sitting pretty good right now as Vargas is working through some mana issues.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to find a thing to do, but it's not like Vargas is putting you on all the pressure in the world here, so.
Brainstorm the draw here for John. There's True Name Nemesis too.
Yeah, if you had True Name Nemesis in hand, I think it makes a lot of sense to not daze the Baleful Strix because you want to be able to daze a Force of Will here, or you want to be able to daze Diabolic Edict the next turn.
All really good daze targets. There's the Volcanic Island. So 2 Volcanics and 1 Underground Sea right now for our Grixis Delver player. You can see exactly why this is the deck to beat in this format. It's resilient, it's got great threats, and it's got some card drawing as well. And there's True Name. And I don't think Vargas is going to fight over this because he's got to imagine that Force of Will is just not good enough right now.
Although if you're Vargas' side, well, he didn't daze the Strix, so I mean, this is where Sukenik gets paid off for being really disciplined.
There is Daze. So now True Name is in. I'm going to choose Manuel Vargas, and now Manuel will draw a card and draw another copy of Force Will. He does have a Brainstorm in hand. Perhaps it's time for him to fire one of those off and hope for the best. Not underneath a ton of pressure, but things have certainly changed now. First things first, here comes the Strix. And now comes most likely the risky Brainstorm.
I mean, if you miss here, the game is basically over. You really, I mean, Vargas could really use a shuffle.
Didn't find one.
He did find red mana. That's something.
Some of the drawback of this deck, though, you're seeing it in action where, yes, it is powerful, but you are playing a lot of colors. And Wasteland is a problematic card against decks that like to do that. There is that red mana that you spoke of. Turns on Lightning Bolts, Punishing Fire, Pyroblast, things of that nature. But the ability to kill the problematic 3-1 Merfolk and True Name Nemesis has not been found yet. So here comes the 3-1. Vargas is going to fall down to 14. Sukenik will play that Volcanic Island that we all knew about. We'll head back over to Manuel, who's going to draw a card he already knows is coming in Punishing Fire. In for 1 in the air. Sukenik's going to fall down to 11. Perhaps we could see a racing situation here with Burn going upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, Sukenik is in no real rush. I wouldn't want to just fire off these bolts at Vargas at this point, because if Vargas draws to a Diabolic Edict and wins a fight over it, now you've just bolted him for no reason. But with this hit getting in there, I mean, you're starting to close it. Sukenik now on Bolt plus Fork Bolt. That's 8 points of damage, plus 3 from True Name. Next turn is the full 11. So Sukenik might fire off a bolt here at the end of Vargas' turn if he doesn't add something to the battlefield that requires a lightning bolt.
Just to see maybe what's going on.
You have lethal. And if he's going to be willing to force a will your lightning bolts in this spot, like, awesome. You know, who cares?
You're probably pretty happy with
who
that.
Who cares? Yep. You know? And I like Sukenik showing a lot of discipline here. He's had a Brainstorm for a long time. He could have fired it off. He's got a fetch land even to go along with it. But he's had these bolts in his hand, and it's not clear if these bolts are going to be good or not. He may want to keep them and fire them off at Vargas. He may want to shuffle them away, depending on the way the game breaks. So for now, there's really no rush to do anything. I see a lot of players just sort of like cast their Brainstorms for the sake of doing it. And Sukenik's even had an extra land in hand sometimes. But these lightning bolts are high ceiling, low floor. They range anywhere from being game-winning cards to being dead draws. And Sukenik doesn't want to do anything with that brainstorm until he has more information about what it's going to be. So I like the fact that he's been disciplined with that brainstorm for a long time now. The fact that Vargas isn't doing anything that's forcing Sukenik's hand helps. It allows him to be patient. But the bolts are not clear if they're going to be good or not yet, and so why rush?
Polluted Delta will give Vargas a fetch land to be able to find some green mana and fetch away the stuff from the brainstorm. The lightning bolt is going to resolve. Sukenik is going to bring Vargas down to 8. And John will untap. He'll draw a card now. And he picked up another copy of Underground Sea. In for 3. Vargas is down to 5. John is going to play a Forked Bolt going upstairs. I like leading here with this as opposed to the Lightning Bolt.
Well, the costs are, the cat's out of the bag about what's going on here. Although I guess you could just be saying I'm setting up a second true name hit next turn.
Yep, that's why I like this a lot. Yeah, and Bolt is probably on the radar, but at the same time, it's like I don't have to do anything, you know?
Yeah, I guess the counter argument there is that, you know, he's probably going to force a will the last card. If you resolve the Lightning Bolt and knock him to 2, then you cast the Forked Bolt. If he forces down to 1, now he can't crack his fetch land.
True.
So there is a little bit on the other side but I think you get him down into bolt range, and you can do everything at instant speed is probably better than trying to resolve the bolt first.
Okay.
But the play is not clear cut to me. I could see just assuming he'll force a will the last thing, you'd rather the bolt resolve than the Forked Bolt.
Vargas will draw. Ugh.
What's that?
Toxic Deluge. Which technically is an answer, but not really.
Yeah, you deluge, you go to 1, and now your force of will's off.
Mm-hmm. That's the problem. But first, get him, Strix.
Mm-hmm.
Get him.
Doing good work this game.
Drawing a card.
Beaten down,
Yep.
Drawing cards.
Pecking away. Here's Toxic Deluge. Cool. Yeah, for 1. A Spell Pierce is going to counter that. At least it's going to attempt to. Here's Pyroblast on the Spell Pierce. How about Daze? How about Daze is very good. How about Grixis Delver is very good, and that's going to do it. Jonathan Sukenik's going to win this game and match over Manuel Vargas 2-0. Grixis Delver does it again. Going to win this match over 4-color control. Another deck that I don't want to say is trying to prey on Grixis Delver, but it's definitely got the tools to do so.